Welcome to the Science and Engineering Council of Santa Barbara. All of you that are present today knows a lot about the Science and Engineering Council of Santa Barbara. We've been in existence for roughly 70 years. And we have monthly meetings where we have speakers. Today, I'll be your speaker, and I'll say a few words in just a moment. But first, I want to bring up something extremely important. I want to bring up the Scholarship Foundation of Santa Barbara. They actually have raised this past year over $8 million for students. And many of the students receive funding for their second, third, fourth year entry into medical school and much more. And Gina Karbashev is going to be here today, and she is here, and she's going to say a few words about the Scholarship Foundation. I can tell you it is heart-wrenching to hear the stories of from some of the students who have received scholarships, and they really needed those scholarships to continue to go through the colleges. Gina, it's all yours.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to need your podium.
Yes, go right there.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Science and Engineering Council for all that you do in regards to scholarships for students here in Santa Barbara County. Just a little information about the Scholarship Foundation. If you're not very familiar, we've been in existence for 64 years. So you actually beat us on the amount of years. And at the very beginning, when we started, it started out with a group of individuals who met in a garage who decided they wanted to give some scholarships to students locally. And they gave out in 1962, 9 $100 awards to students for books and so forth. A lot of people now say, oh, $100, but back then, $100 was quite a bit, to help take care of books and other supplies that students need. During that time, we have given out, and I updated our figures here so that we have an accurate amount. So far, we have given out $175.4 million to 66,288 students countywide. And in 2025, we gave out $7.7 million to 2,125 students. And this year, 2026, was the highest. We gave out $8.4 million to 2,288 students. So besides the undergraduate scholarships that we give out to graduate students, we give out to law school and medical school students. So a student could basically receive scholarship in their undergrad, graduate, and even on to whether they decide to go on to law school or medical school. And we've had some students that pretty much receive scholarships throughout their entire education, which, when you think about it, especially now with changes in the laws, graduate students are reliant just on student loans, and there were changes to the student loans. And you've probably heard a little bit about like the nursing. That is really going to impact that field specifically because of the fact that they will be required to take out personal loans versus federal loans, which, we're in a shortage with nursing, and we hope that doesn't deter students that were looking at going into nursing to make those changes. Just this past year, looking at how we awarded, because of some changes and because of hardships for students, we funded all of our graduate students, which was a big one, because of the cuts in the loans. And we also made sure that we funded all of our nursing students. Getting a scholarship, means a lot to them, especially with the fact that they're not able to take out those federal loans, which have a lower interest rate. But, I'm not sure, I would leave just, a couple of minutes. I don't want to talk too much. I could give you a lot of stats and so forth. And I gave out our annual report, and it gives just some information, and it also has some student stories. One thing that I'd love to do is just, I guess maybe speak about when John said about students and, hardships. Overall, we all know this, economically, it's really tough. One other thing that we ensured we did was because a lot of our students that are eligible, for example, Pell Grant, and so forth, they receive scholarships, but then we have those individuals that are right in the middle between the upper and, our middle class. And a lot of students at a certain salary range from parents, they're not eligible for Pell Grant. Pell Grant's a little higher, but Pell Grant, they're not eligible for that funding. So we had a lot of families that would say, we can't afford it. We can't send our kids to college. Everything has gone up. We can't afford, or we have to take out a second on our house. So what we ensured was that we looked at the middle class, and we ensured that we funded as many of the middle class as possible. And that was because we had almost a little over $1 million more to actually be able to fund. And we're hoping with generous donors in our community and generous donations through like your organization to actually next year go beyond the 8.4 million. And, we're looking at possibly raising an additional million. This year, we had about 900 students that we could not fund. So we would love to fund every student, but unfortunately, we don't have, all the funds to fund all of them. So I'm going to quit talking there. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me.
I think there was a question on Zoom. And someone, I believe, asked, is there a proper time of the year to provide donations?
Oh, we take donations throughout the whole year. We just, we just funded our students. They just received, they're receiving their scholarships right now. We're working on the payouts. Our application will open back up on October 15th. And the latest that we could actually probably take for the this will be the 26-27 academic year, would probably be April would be the latest of 2027 that we could take donations. Because at that point, we're already starting what we call our selections, and we need to ensure we know how much funding we have. I don't know if that answers your question, but if there's any other questions that anyone may have. And again, we are so honored that you believe in the Scholarship Foundation and that your donations go to such very deserving students. And I've been working with the Scholarship Foundation for about a year and a half, a little over a year and a half. And I'm amazed at these students, everyone that's going into all the different fields from the sciences, engineering, and so forth. And, I'm amazed at, these incredible stories and their GPAs and everything that they do. So know that the funding that you give really does go to a very deserving student. So.
Gina?
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Oh.
Thank you for coming. And I just want to give you a little $100.
Okay, I will.
Got
I can't go shopping?
And I'm matching Bill Farringer.
Oh, okay. Great. I will make sure. So this is coming from you, John.
Yes,
Okay.
but it's science and engineering.
Science and engineering. I'll make
Yes.
sure when I give this to.
I always match John, so.
You always
He's
got
got 20s.
I will make sure I give this to our
That's great.
development department, and
Sure.
so make sure it goes to the right program.
You betcha.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank
you
you
so
very
much for
much.
having me, and anytime you want us to come back, we're more than willing to come back.
Thank you.
Do a presentation. If you'd like for me to bring a student, please let me know. Because then I could search for maybe a student that has received your scholarship.
Oh, that was.
If they're going to
That would be
school in
great.
the area.
That would be
Tim,
great.
Or maybe when they're off on break,
Yeah.
you know, maybe summer or something like that.
Gina, Tim is our president.
Okay. Hi, Tim.
Those the man with the money.
I feel like I'm. And, okay, so this will all go under, but I want to maybe be able to. Yes, please. I have John's info. I'll make sure that you get the proper, thank you for that.
We'll be happy to work with you to have some students
Yes, I think
tell their
summer,
stories.
I think summer would be good before they go back. I don't know how many are here. I need to look that up,
Okay.
especially this year students. So, thank you.
Good, thanks.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's okay.
Tim, did you want to introduce me?
Go ahead. Okay.
He's only been speaking for.
Wasn't
I don't know
sure.
who I am, so I need.
AI.
Yeah.
Happy to do. Well, we're a little late today, but here we are. We'll introduce John Illgen, speaker today on artificial intelligence. John is a leading expert in modeling and simulation with over 50 years of experience across defense, commercial, and the civil sectors. He served as Sector Director of the M&S at Northrop Grumman Mission Systems from 2003 to 2018, advancing simulation integration and open architecture systems, including live, virtual, and constructive environments. He founded Illgen Simulation Technologies, or ISTI, in 1988, pioneering the distributed simulation technologies. The company was acquired by Northrop Grumman in 2003. John has led major initiatives in cybersecurity, ISR, command and control, and training systems, earning recognitions such as the NTSA Lifetime Achievement Award and induction into the National Simulation Center Hall of Fame. John's had leadership roles in the National Defense Industrial Association and SCS. He's published 60+ technical papers and contributed to key defense and the FAA simulation programs. He's a longtime member of the Science and Engineering Council. So without further ado, thank you, John.
Thank you, Tim. I'd like to start off by mentioning how long we've been engaged in AI. In 1930, Alan Turing came up with the idea that machines might be able to learn. He also, in World War II, able to destroy and impact the German encryption codes. And that was quite a situation because it may have had an impact on how much faster the war ended. He really had an impact. And you know, all of you, that there was a movie about Alan Turing some years back. But missed a few of these things. But today, we're still using his equations. Number of processes within the AI area. And you can read, there's all kinds of material about him. But I had to start off that way. I'm going to begin by going into some of the array of concerns associated with AI, and I'm going to spend a bit of time on verification and validation of the AI processes. You know, you hear companies come out with different products. You hear about, unfortunately, some of our government agencies coming out, but you don't ever hear them say, oh, this has been verified and validated. So I'm going to get into that a bit today. And if there's time, I'd like to talk about what our Congress is doing about all of this. And I have to tell you, I'm impressed. They have a caucus on AI. They have a congressional caucus on modeling and simulation. And they kind of integrate a lot of their meetings because there's so much interest and importance of using both, of course. And I will, if there's time, talk about the Congressional Committee for AI that I'm on and am participating a lot. I'm keeping pretty busy with the congressman, and I'll say a lot more about that. So let me get started, and I'll go to the first chart. As we all know, AI is having an impact, major impact on the defense area, the different military services, intelligence, the commercial landscape for sure, and there are a lot of opportunities along with a lot of concerns, and we'll get into that. As the country advances towards the future, there's an increasingly being dominated by AI, and there's growing apprehension around how current and future propagation might impact value lock-in, deception, biases, and potential job losses. Well, there's an answer to the job losses, a real good answer, and I'll talk about that later. There's challenges that coexist with huge potential benefits, including improved efficiency, accuracy, strategic advantage, especially for the defense, military, intelligence, and some commercial areas. And we have to also, Joseph is here, think about the fact that a lot of the finance companies around the country have actually been suffering when they started using AI. There have been some real difficulties. Community West Bank has not, but there have been a lot of organizations that have. Go to the next chart. What is AI? I don't have to say too much about that here. It can be programmed to learn, reason, problem solve, interpret language. There's digital twins out there. If there's time, I'll get into that also. There's two subsets of AI. There's machine learning, where systems learn from data to improve their performance, and deep learning. There's AI is also a broad term that refers to computer systems design that can mimic human intelligence. That goes on quite substantially. And AI can streamline operations. It impacts decision-making a lot. And of course, when that happens, we had better make darn sure that we've verified and validated the process that caused us to make some important decisions. And currently, there's several key advances in AI and machine learning that have been showing a lot of potential. I want to, before continuing, mention predictive analytics. Advanced AI machine learning models are used for predictive analytics, and that's to forecast finance, accounting, a lot of the defense areas, military again, intelligence. And this is done in terms of deterministic and statistical approaches. And we also are analyzing a huge amount of data to spot patterns and trends that might be impossible for human analysts to discern. Therefore, that's contributing to proactive competitive environments in defense, et cetera. On the next slide, I want to talk about cybersecurity impact a little bit. AI and machine learning are becoming crucial in the fight against cyber threats. And that is really taking hold in a lot of organizations right now. These technologies can identify and respond to potential threats faster than traditional methods, and it can be done often in real time. And we have been actually applying some of that in the federal government, and that's been working pretty nicely. We can often learn from each attack, and we can keep improving the capability from each attack. AI is being used to create realistic simulations for training purposes. And I got to tell you, the impact that the integration of AI with simulation has really helped the modeling and simulation community really well. It can effectively deal with large amounts of data analysis. And we know that there's huge amounts of data. Oh, but who's verifying and validating that? Not very many people. We can provide defense, military intelligence, superiority, and precision. Concerns. As we transition to the realm of these promising prospects, the users must also confront the array of concerns brought about by this revolutionary technology that's been with us since Alan Turing. I have to say that again because a lot of people don't realize how long we have been working AI. The holdup in progressing has been centers that handle all the data and the power that's needed to operate those centers. Developing a comprehensive understanding of these challenges is vital in harnessing the opportunities to ensure secure, responsible, and balanced integration of AI in our defense world, finance world, military, et cetera. The goals of AI the goals and actions must align with human intent, of course. And that's really important. And that gets back to the verification and validation process, which I'll get into in just a moment. Misaligned AI could lead to unintended consequences, causing quite a bit of harm. And so we'll go on to the next chart. Combating this requires explicit programming of human values. And I'm reading this off to you a little bit because, again, we're going to get to V&V in just a very few moments. And all of this is really important because V&V can help us get past some of these concerns. Enfeeblement stems from an over-reliance of AI. That can lead to a decrease in essentially the human skills and capabilities over time. Employees could become less efficient in their tasks if we're not careful. This necessitates a balanced approach where AI is used to augment rather than replace human capabilities. And augmenting is really critical. We don't want just to turn things over to AI. We want the human to be actually behind it. And we want to be very careful not to let AI take on all of our issues that I'm talking about. AI education and training for personnel. That's really important. If we're using AI, there's changes that occur constantly. And we have to not only educate somebody or train them one time, it's got to be evolving. Some cases, it might be good enough for taking the course once a year. Sometimes we just have, there's so many changes occurring. We have to incorporate that and that training on a continuous basis. Really, really important. That's another area that we talk about in AI. The approach, we want to foster a culture that values critical thinking and views human intuition and machine intelligence as complementary forces. Complementary forces is very important. And where we're not just relying on the AI process by itself. Designing more transparent systems that provide understandable explanations, their decision, etc., and to prevent black box perception of AI. Value lock in. That's the risk of these systems amplifying or cementing existing values, beliefs, or biases, and posing challenges in operating some of our defense systems, processes, plans, etc., and the financial area as well. This all can result in skewed decision-making based on embedded biases and so forth, as stated here. Mitigating this risk requires a few essential measures: continuous testing and auditing of AI systems for bias should be a standard procedure, and oddly enough, having standards and governance and use of AI has not been occurring. Incorporating diverse perspectives and setting objectives and values for systems involving experts from different domains. It's so important to have the human experts involved from these different technology domains. And we got to ensure a balanced representation of values. Fostering transparency in AI development, making AI systems decision-making processes and training data open to scrutiny can also assist in identifying and addressing potential value lock-in biases. And again, here we go back to V&V, which just in a few moments I'll get to. AI biases can distort strategic decisions, compromising the effectiveness of awareness and other key finance functions. For example, finance companies have suffered around the country on this point. And the solution involves a broad spectrum of training data, getting back to the training data and continuous auditing. And that is part of the V&V process. Human in the loop approach for crucial decisions, very critical. You all know that. Job losses, we hear about that. I'm not going to stay very far long on this chart. People are worried about job losses. Don't worry about job losses. The people are needed. They got to be trained and move on. Oops. Joseph. Whoops.
Activated on the window.
Oh. What's this? Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, and then other considerations. IA can be used for cyber warfare, powering automated attacks that operate speeds no human could ever match. That's a real good possible area where you handle it carefully. The ability of AI to make autonomous decisions raises serious ethical, moral, legal questions about accountability through the different sectors associated with it. And risk of falling behind in the AI sectors can be a competitive issue for people in business. Summary on this, a multi-pronged approach is essential. Rigorous regulation, robust systems for accountability, develop internal standards. Developing standards is really important in the domain, and having ethical guidelines, testing, transparency, and we're going to get into that in more detail in the V&V chart since I get to them now. Focus on augmenting human capabilities with AI, not replacing them. We're not replacing them. That's not an approach. Governance, managing AI. If I have a company or if I have a project or department, I need to be able to manage the use of AI and make all of these considerations as part of the governance and management process. And that is not happening enough. Integrate AI strategic and operation plans into all the, when I say sectors, I'm talking defense, military, intelligence, finance, etc., and develop, execute an in-depth verification, validation, and accreditation plan. Skip this one. I just said this, I think. Skip that one. Okay, now AI verification and validation. The Congressional Committee on AI asked me if it's possible to conduct verification and validation. And I was able to come up with automated tools to do that. You can't do it other than having vast automation tools to do the verification and validation. Big part of it. I'm going to get into the process, and I'm going to talk about V&V. And first, I want to mention that I'll talk about definitions of V&V. What is verification? What's validation? Why should we do it? What's the cost impact? Types of AI V&V. Legacy software, integral part of the life cycle, distributed, etc. What is the methodology? I'm going to go through that. And what tools can I use? Very important. And the validation techniques and where does accreditation fit in? I'll be talking about that. What is verification and validation? First of all, verification. This is the process of determining that AI and model implementation, because AI is using and incorporating modeling capabilities. Using that implementation accurately represents the developer's conceptual description and specifications. It assures verification assures code execution fits in AI model design, and that processes conform to accepted physics engineering principles. Databases, very important from an AI standpoint. We're dealing with huge amounts of databases. And I've come up with the tools that can actually evaluate the databases and how they're used for different applications. Very key. includes verifying data sources, structures, and transformations. That's all critical to AI, accomplished by documentation, source code analysis, and test runs, and the Internet of Things and the peer-to-peer approach and other architectures is important. And I'm hoping to have enough time to go over the software architecture that I developed to do the integration and interoperation. And I based it on the internet. I was able to pull off the peer-to-peer approach from the internet and then do some work in developing the architecture to do the integration and interoperation. So we'll get into that. Validation, the process of determining which AI and the accurate representation in terms of the real world. And this is where we get into doing an evaluation of everything connected. And this assures AI model adequately approximates reality with the requirements of their use, application, etc., and accomplished through benchmarking, data integration, very critical for all of this as I mentioned earlier, and the peer review and and so much more, which I'll get into now. I want to first, before I get into it, talk about accreditation drives the verification and validation. It's a planning process for verification and validation. So you don't miss anything important, or you come up with something you can't do right away. VV&A is an integral part of AI that's coupled to the simulation development and the applications, various applications, of course. And the implementation plan that one has to do has to be very specific. It must have maximum traceability. It must be detailed, and the plan must focus on V&V agent and problem owner. Numerous other stakeholders are involved in all of this as well. That's very key. Subject matter experts, very key. How to conduct quality assurance plan for AI coupled to modeling and simulation and V&V process. And this will be for use by the ultimate possible bank customer, defense customer, whoever it is, for accreditation. Why do it? V&V history must be documented, maintained, and especially when you're dealing with these huge databases, and used as a starting point for legacy V&V and usage extension. Reaccreditation and possibly re-verification and validation is required for reuse of AI and M&S rather than its original intended use and so forth. V&V agent and developer, cooperation, supportive, etc. Roles and responsibilities. Subject matter experts. These could be designing test, analysis, acquisitions, etc. Operations of different organizations. Operational requirements must be, and V&A must be, they have to be aligned, and the word independent must be considered. Do I want another outfit to do my V&V in order to be, in order to have more belief from the outside world in my V&V process? That can sometimes be very important. The plan should state the objectives, etc. Misconceptions about V&A. I have to say this. V&V will make the product good. No, good development doesn't require V&V. V&V can wait until the end of the project is developed. good luck. Cutting costs in V&V won't impact the quality of the product. Product that passed, people are saying this in some of the outfits that are building these products. V&V effort is the same process for any product. Need to perform full V&V every time. V&V experts are the enemy to the project and developers. V&V is simple. V&V is separate from the AI test effort. Truths, V&V must be an integral part of the project from the start. It's continuous. It doesn't end. V&V should occur in all phases of development. It should be tailored for each intended use of the product. And AI V&V must be accomplished for AI distributed processes, architecture, networks, and much more are very important to that process. Why do V&V? Credibility, confidence, reduce risk, wider acceptability, policy, and cost. What's the cost of not doing it? I couldn't help put this one in this presentation. The failure, you all remember the Mars Climate Orbiter a number of years ago. And this was traced to software that failed to convert metric to English units. Can you imagine that? And it caused the destruction of the Mars Climate Orbiter. And these things, and there, this is just I just wanted to show the press write-up about it. It was a big deal when it happened. But guess what? This kind of thing has happened over and over again. This is not an individual problem. Oh, okay. Now I want to say a few words about AI V&V plan development. Here we are involved in a typical layout of what goes on when you are handling V&V. Here are the case, I call them case tool analysis. They're not really case tools. They're special automated tools that run in real time and fast time. Very important doing V&V for AI. And we get involved in design and code verification. We get involved, of course, with the requirements, the configuration management, the structure, the architecture for the integration and interoperation, and all of the databases that are engaged in this process. It could be measured data, data that's not measured data, etc. It's very, very detailed. Tools that are used include dynamic and static, and I'm going to talk about each of those tools. The static case tools that I'm talking about use AI source code as input. It assumes syntactically correct code. It addresses internal structures, logical flow of program statements, use of program variables, definitions, module calling hierarchy, sequence, module call cross-reference tables, reformat source code to improve readability, and its use is generally independent of the platform and should be. Dynamic case tools. We monitor the AI program operational performance. Very key. must operate on the same platform as the target software. And it's implemented as internal functions or system monitors. Validation techniques, I'm just listing a few here. Face validation, trace validation, bottom-up validation, multi-stage validation, internal validation, sensitivity, comparison, interface testing, graphic displays. The Turing tests still exist. They're excellent. And again, what that person did was marvelous. This is a chart that if I got into it in too much detail, you'd all be here for the next 2 hours. And I don't think I have 2 hours. Anyway, this is based on MIL standard 3022, and you all can look that up. And it tailors the standard V&V process. And here what we do is go through a process of gathering requirements, objectives, intended uses, etc. A huge amount of information, as you can imagine. And we plan and tailor the V&V process to define the things like the applicable validation parameters, the assumptions, the capabilities, limitations, risk, etc. And then we have our data part of the V&V, which is absolutely enormous. And I want to tell you, I'm really overwhelmed with the size of these databases. And I'll tell you, thank goodness for this verification and validation approach, because I wouldn't know at all how to do this without automated tools that I've already mentioned. Design verification, implementation of the verification, and the results. All of this is huge. Anyone who wants to go into a 2-hour presentation with me, not a discussion, you're welcome to call me, and Cheryl knows my number. Okay, now here's another approach. This one is the AI spiral development, where you might want to start with different prototypes. First prototype, second prototype, third prototype, etc. And here you can determine your objectives, your alternatives, constraints, plan your next phases, evaluate alternatives that you would want to identify, any risk associated with them, etc. And again, we're using the tools, the type of tools that I have mentioned already. Summary of some of the techniques, not all, believe me. But what I have here, and you can get these charts from Cheryl, the technique, face validation, trace validation, bottom-up testing, internal validation, sensitivity analysis, etc., and applicability, and the cost. There's cost associated with using all of these things. Remember one thing, there's not a person or a company or an organization that owns everything I just mentioned. So you're basically getting information from different sources. And that we have a handle on through the legislation caucus that I mentioned earlier. And it's not perfect. And I want to mention, none of this is perfect right now. But we have tried the V&V out on AI, and it works so far. I'm sure there are areas where it will not work. Develop detailed plan. This is extremely important part of the process. We have to make sure we understand our objectives, define AI opportunities, focus on meeting internal and external needs and improvements, how critical AI changes and improvements can be implemented without impacting the daily performance of what we're using. Define how the AI process will impact benefits, efficiency, accuracy, and strategy, competitive advantage for those in business, etc. Show how predictive analytics will assist forecasting, finance, accounting, defense, intel, all those, etc. Define how AI and machine learning will be used to eliminate cyber threats, response, and etc. in real time. Use AI to develop the training process for employees and recipients. Critical, as I mentioned earlier. Define how AI concerns can be handled and in some cases eliminated. Develop an approach, show how jobs will be shifted and not completely eliminated. Define proactive planning, upskilling, and reskilling programs that will be used to prepare the staff. And this is used to cause employees to manage AI systems effectively, not have AI manage the employees. Develop standards, I mentioned, define AI governance in detail, I can't emphasize how important that one is. Access the need for continuous training, etc. Define the course and address how this course must be updated, and define AI V&A plan in depth, of course. Having trouble getting to the next chart, Joseph.
Did you pass it up? Go beyond it? Or
Your magic touch on it.
yeah, that's the end of it.
You got to 30, okay,
Yeah.
it's the end of it.
Yeah.
I forgot that was the end of it.
Okay.
Now, not the end of my
Right.
presentation. It's not the end of my presentation. I want to talk about, I mentioned the architecture and it's important. I won't have charts to show you, but let me go to I got permission from Congress to show the architecture charts, but not all of the others in this pack. Anyway, I talked about the importance of the architecture for the integration and interoperation process, and the fact that I was using a peer-to-peer approach. And first, let me talk about the integration. The integration provides the platform independent desktop integration via mobile proxies. Okay. And then this is the basically the gateway to the distributed modeling and simulation AI resources capability on different, a huge amount of distributed nodes, as you can imagine, because of the amount of data. The interoperation, this is the AI required or produced, and this can be in the form of enormous databases, huge amount of databases, configuration files, and other things. And that includes the legacy and the new AI distributed over multiple heterogeneous platforms. Then, basically, this, I call it open-ended architecture. Basically, is an interoperation of the independent, distributed, heterogeneous software applications, databases, utilities, you name it. And you basically have a distributed services interoperation infrastructure. And then you have the peer-to-peer interoperation process as part of that structure. And then you can have XML transformation, routing, filtering, etc. An adapter application programming interface, an API essentially, responsible for XML transfer, different languages that can be used, of course. You have all kinds of automation, and you instantiate, initialize, start, stop, status, and all of that sort of thing. It's pretty well detailed, and anyone who wants to know more about the architecture is welcome to it. It's an architecture that I have developed and evolved over the years, and it's a commercial product now. And it's out of Northrop Grumman, who I was with for 15 years. And that's why they purchased my company, because of the architecture that I had started. And the upgrades have been substantial, as you can imagine. So I wanted to mention that one. And then, do I still have some time?
Questions?
Do I have time?
Yeah.
Okay. Bear with me. I'll make sure there's time for questions. Okay. I wanted to get to the, say a few words about the legislation. I think it's important, and it's very, the legislation committee, we meet every 2 weeks on Zoom, and we have face-to-face meetings in Washington or Orlando, Florida, on a routine basis. And I want to mention that there is a lot of emphasis right now on having a lot of training of personnel, number one. And we also get involved in AI methods that have been applied to the military and civilian area already. And there have been mixed results. So that's where they said, John, your verification validation process has to be used. So I wanted to mention that. And I have to say the representatives that are both Republican, Democrats, Independents that are on these caucuses, they've worked together so well, and they're best of friends with each other. They go out to dinner, etc. I get included with the 3 other committee members as well, and it's amazing. I wish they worked together on everything. Couldn't help saying that. We also get involved on this legislation congressional committee in terms with AI governance, which I mentioned because I've been worried about that, standards, and assessing different methods. And they also recognize there's a great need for government, industry, and the academic community to have access to a lot of quality open source data sets to enhance development and assess AI methods and tools and that sort of thing. And believe it or not, this is what these congressmen actually are talking about now. And some of them are really intelligent. Jack Bergman, District 1, Michigan. He's a retired 3-star general. And he has a lot of technology know-how. And Bobby Scott, he's a Democrat, tremendous guy, intelligent. So I want to emphasize that data are essential to the assessment of AI effectiveness within and across different military occupational specialties. They also get involved in the data that's needed for resource for experimentation, as well as verification, validation, and accreditation. And DB&A has become a real complementary process for them. And that has really been exciting. And I wanted to mention that some of the constituents that are involved with us have really input some nice points to us, and I'll just summarize them briefly. Acquire, process, and store data sets and open source AI models for use by the U.S. government and its industrial base. We've been getting a lot of outside support on that. Promote the reuse of data sets and AI models to lower the cost of tailored education and training, and a whole host of other things. I want to leave time for questions, but there was one thing I wanted to mention. AI twins. You've all heard about that. And I told my wife I wanted to have an AI twin, and she said, no, you're enough. But anyway, there's a growing number of executives around the country that are using digital twins now. And it works fine in a lot of cases, but again, it's of concern. And I wanted to mention to you, I wanted to bring it up because the Wall Street Journal had an issue on artificial intelligence, the special edition, May 26, 2026. And it has a complete article on digital twins, and you got to read it. You don't want to hear that from me. You got to read the person. And I don't have anything else to say. Joseph is leaving, so I have to stop.
Sorry. Got a plane to catch, so to speak. Jonathan will come in and close everything up. So, thanks. So there are several AI models out there. Anthropic and ChatGPT, and
Yeah.
are they all accumulating the same amount of data, same sources? Are they replicative? Are they specialized?
They're all specialized. And I want to mention to you, I'm impressed with some of the ones we use personally. I use Grok.
That's
Yeah. And you know what? I wanted to find out what states have the lowest taxes.
they moving.
In all the, no, in all the categories. No, I wanted to compare it to us in California.
Yeah.
The numbers were shocking, but it was really, then I checked on this myself, and Grok was correct on everything I was given. I was kind of impressed with that because I went into a lot of depth in what I wanted.
So how are they sweeping up this data, garbage in, garbage out? And we're talking about data, it's a general term.
Oh, the data is, they don't have all the data right there for Grok. There's a distributed system, and information is being taken from different sources. It's like the architecture that I talked about. The architecture to integrate and interoperate AI models, simulations, etc., is now working in real time and fast time. And they have their ability using architectures, internet processes, even Google, and they are able to go and get this data using the AI processes. And I got to tell you, the different products are developed in a different way. They're not all the same.
We have a question from Robert on the Zoom.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, thanks for your talk. So you said that you were going to have something more to say about AI leading jobs, because I've been following this for a very long time, and um, I I think that this is unlike anything in human history. I think that from what I can see, the AIs really can replace most jobs. Um, yeah, what were you wanting to say about that?
Oh, my, my feeling is we don't want AI to represent the human. We want AI to augment what the human is doing, period. That's my position.
No, but you don't control that. It could be, it could overwhelm us.
Oh, yes, it could overwhelm us.
Capacity.
We have to be really careful of that. Any other questions?
So the
Yeah, that's not an
is
adequate
that being-
answer. I'm
the VNB
sorry.
being applied to
Oh, wait,
every.
there's two people talking.
Let's just, gentlemen, go ahead. You were going to talk about BNB.
Is it already implied with every tool?
Oh, no, no, we're just in AI beginning that process through the congressional caucus.
Well, we're trying to come lately.
Huh?
We're trying to come lately on that.
No, and we've tried it out. We've applied it. I've actually applied it for them on something I can't talk about here. It's classified, what I did, but it worked. And they are taking a legislation package to the administration to get it approved.
I'll never do.
Robert, do you have another question?
Robert,
Bernstein?
Robert, did you leave?
No, it looks like he's frozen.
Oh,
Yeah, John, I think following up on Robert's question, just a little bit more on the upskilling and reskilling. Is that part of the legislative package? Would there be any government initiatives or proclamations about how to roll out reskilling programs within companies?
part of that, that's a great question. And part of that fits in to the governance, which they want to have the administration approve so that they have governance and some control at the federal level. And I think that's important from a VV&A standpoint as well, because you want to have issues that can be addressed by the different companies to build the different products. But you want to have this governance, the standards, et cetera, that they have to follow. You can't have every company have their own.
It sounds like a lot of training though needs to occur
Lots.
to reskill people into these
Yes.
oversight roles rather than the doing
A
role.
lot.
Bill, what do we do about the Chinese, their AI?
Oh,
They can do whatever they want.
I feel that they could be, they're not leading in everything. There's no, when you hear the news on TV, no matter what channel about it, the Chinese are ahead of us. They may be ahead in some areas, but not all areas. And they don't have access to our classified information, for example, and things of that sort. So I think I can't, by the way, this is important. Somebody asked me, are there any other AI experts in the field other than you? I said, there are no I'm not an expert and nobody's an expert because we're just getting into this now. And I can't answer your question in detail about the Chinese because I don't know everything they're doing.
10 or 20 years, 30 years from now,
30 years from now, we'll all still, if we're still on this earth, we got to watch Elon Musk, what he recently said. that we are a simulation ourselves. Yeah. In the universe. I don't know if you guys read that, but he came out with a statement like that. But I don't know all the details, and I'm not an expert. I'm just learning, let me tell you. Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I've got a question along the lines that we're just talking about. In your workings with Congress, we have Democrats, Republicans, Independents. How has AI been able to handle the human and maybe ethical, and I don't know, that's a hard word for me to use, point of view? And just as a really rough example, let's say we're going to build a bullet train from LA to San Francisco, and Central Valley congressman says, well, that's great. I want a bullet train stop in my congressional district. And then the next guy says, I want a bullet train stop in my congressional district. Things that are human, but are perhaps totally illogical. How does AI handle that? And how is your dealings with Congress handling things like that? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that the caucus that I am affiliated with, the congressmen are really intelligent, both parties. And when we talk about governance, that all falls under the management process that they want to establish. And you won't, in the future, once the governance process is developed, and we have all the standards developed that make sense, you won't have that kind of problem that you're mentioning.
I'll believe that when I see it.
I understand what you're saying. I'm on the committee, and we're working hard, all I can tell you.
Okay,
Not everything will be perfect. Nothing is perfect in this world.
That's for
Remember
sure.
that.
Okay. Another just more or less related question. AI obviously has tremendous ability to weed through huge data sets. So it would seem to me that whoever controls the data sets and access to those data sets would have a significant control over how AI is used and what some of the results would turn out to be. So maybe this is also a congressional question.
Let me tell you, in dealing with some of these AI processes, which I have done so, there's no way I could handle, or a human could handle, all of this data. And hey, if I integrate this, you got to use these automated tools to do all of that. And I don't think that's a problem. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody.
John. Thank
Thank
you.
Great presentation.
Thank you.